Hello, my name is Carter Leroy. For my scenario project, I made an aerodynamic model of a car. Now, it is just a concept car, and if I went about the real modeling, like in the real world as a job, it would be a lot more steps and take at least another 2 years. But this model took me about maybe like 2 to 3 months to do after I did all the research and stuff like that. And cars that I took some inspiration from would be mainly the Zenvo ST1, which is an insane supercar, and some parts from like the Ferrari 488 Pista. This is my model that I made. It, like I said, it's based, or not based, but inspired from the Zenvo ST1, which here I'll show you a picture of it. This is the Zenvo ST1, and it's like I mainly took stuff from the side of it, the side like right here. This is where I took a lot of inspiration from, because I'll show you. I did like side like splitters, but they're called side skirts, and some like aerodynamics like in this hood right here. That's what I took some inspiration from. As you can see, this model does have some like parts on the side doors and stuff. And this is what I was talking about, this side skirt. It angles up. On the Zenvo ST1, it's embedded in the door, so it doesn't need to be there. Another thing on this hood right here is, you see how all of this angles out, like it goes out towards the side because you don't want as much on the windshield, because that creates drag, which isn't a good thing. Drag decreases speed and like everything. It makes your car basically a brick floating through air. But I did have some of like air that wouldn't be angled out and that would slope up. I added a like side tunnel basically inside the hood that would create like a duct for the air, and it would pop out right around this mirror. Another thing I added, because I already showed you that. Well, right here on that, where the air would push out, like near, if there's any excess air that doesn't get shoved off to the sides, because if it goes on the windshield, it's just going to go up, and then it's going to come up over this and down here. So I added another duct right here. The duct would push back into this slope right here, which goes back into another like air duct, and it goes back through and then goes to this like canal, and it'll shoot out here. Now this creates a little bit, it's similar to lift, which lift is the opposite of downforce. Lift creates more top speed, and like you can drift with a lot of lift. Downforce is the opposite and makes you better at cornering, like I said, but decreases your top speed. The back half of this car is sloped so that all the excess air from the hood, if any was to go on, which I guarantee there would be, it would slope down the back here. And since the air that's going around something speeds up faster than the air that isn't, so it like they stay even and catch up, that's why I made this like sloped a lot like less gradual. So whenever it goes off, it'll just flow right off and it won't create that drag. Even though and yes, you can get drag from the back of a car, which doesn't seem to be able to happen, but it is very possible. The final piece of aerodynamics on this car is this this spoiler right here. Right here, this is a spoiler, or a wing, or whatever you want to call it. But all the air that is going to be probably pushed up because it's sloping down so fast, it'll be going through this spoiler. And the spoiler, actually, I sloped it on the inside, and it's a small, very small curve, which creates a little bit of lift, which you need on the rear, because if you don't have as much lift on the rear, because your rear tires aren't turning, you'll have a lower amount of speed. You want more lift in the front, just a very little bit more, and then a little, or less lift in the front and more lift in the back. So you can get that top speed, but still have that, like, turnability. Something I did mess with on this car was I put the engine, well, if I put an engine in this car, it would be a rear-engined vehicle. Now, these two tiny squares would be where the exhaust would be. It's similar to a McLaren 600 LT. That's where their exhaust is. The benefit of a rear-engine car is that it's lighter because it doesn't have parts to push it through the whole thing.